Everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about an interesting topic that I was kind of thinking about for a while now, and that is the replacement of Pidgeot. It seems like with Noctowl, we're seeing Noctowl in a lot of upcoming decks post-rotation, and so I kind of wanted to talk about why this card is as good as it is and why it has kind of replaced Pidgeot in a lot of decks like Charizard, for example. And before we start, I do want to give a quick shout out to everybody that checked out my Feraligatr overview video where I kind of talked about the deck and how it works. One of my first kind of like TCG related videos. I definitely want to start making more videos about the TCG, so if you guys have any decks you want me to check out or any specific cards, just let me know in the comments. But okay, let's go ahead and talk about Noctowl. This card obviously came out in Stellar Crown, and right away it seemed like it would be a good card. At the time, you know, it wasn't like instantly one of the best cards, I would say. There, you know, are decks where it works and things like that. We didn't have Bidoof in the format yet, so, you know, Pidgeot was still kind of the best option when it comes to a lot of decks. But kind of now, as we're kind of heading towards rotation and Journey Together, we are seeing Pidgeot kind of get phased out in replacement for Noctowl. And obviously, if you look at a lot of Japan lists, you're seeing a lot of Noctowl and you're barely seeing any Pidgeot. So if you guys somehow don't know or you can't tell, obviously we use Noctowl for its ability, not its attack, Speed Wing, which does 60 damage, but it does have the ability Jewel Seeker. And basically what this means is that when you evolve your Hoot Hoot from your hand and you evolve that turn, if you have a Terra Pokemon in play, that means you can search for up to any 2 trainer cards from your deck. Now obviously this is a really good effect because there are a lot of Pokemon that you can kind of pair this with. So obviously you have Charizard, which is a Terra Pokemon, you have Dragapult, you have the different Ogerpons. There's a lot of really good viable options to pair up with this Pokemon. And having the ability to search for any trainer card, item card, or Pokemon tool card is obviously very, very helpful, and especially when you can get 2 of them, because this can basically help you get set up right away, or it can honestly just close out games outright. I feel like at first I hadn't played against a lot of like Noctowl based decks, but especially lately I've been playing against a lot, and it's just such a threat to have a Hoot Hoot on the opposing bench, because you kind of just know that if they get the Hoot Hoot to evolve into Noctowl, they can find whatever they need. Whether that's a boss's orders, whether that's like an energy switch, there's so many different options that this kind of opens up, and it honestly makes a lot of decks very scary. This right here is a recent list from Japan, and obviously you see this is a Raging Bolt deck, a deck that never played anything like Pidgeot or anything like that. It has some more consistency cards that we kind of lost. We lost Pokestop, we're losing Greninja as well, and so how do we, you know, replace that? We replace it with Noctowl. And that honestly opens up so many doors for you, because you can Noctowl and you can find your Professor Sada that you need. You can use it to find your energy retrieval that you might need, or for Earthen Festival to get the energy that you need, a Nest Ball to get a certain Pokemon out. So again, very, very good card. But again, the question here is, why is it like the card all of a sudden? Why is it, you know, the staple card in a lot of decks? Why is it the main engine for a lot of decks? And honestly, the answer for that is pretty simple. And I want to make this very clear. I'm not saying Pidgeot EX is bad. 2 things can be true at once. Noctowl is good and Pidgeot is still pretty good. The problem with Pidgeot is it's a little bit harder to get set up. And honestly, when you think about it, being able to search for any card is great, but being able to search for 2 trainer cards is kind of just as good if you think about it. I mean, decks run 3 types of cards, right? Pokemon, energy, and trainer cards. And a lot of decks play trainer cards that will help you get your Pokemon and get your energy cards. But when you really think about it, you can get 2 trainer cards that will allow you to find the other 2 things that you can't directly find with Noctowl. And so essentially, you're kind of getting 2 cards from your deck, which are any cards that you want. And if your Noctowls get knocked out, you can just Night Stretcher or Super Rod them back into the deck, put them down, and then it just takes 1 turn to evolve them again. If somebody hits you with a TM Devolution, then you're just going to evolve again next turn because it's just a stage 1 card. With something like Pidgeot EX, we almost always set it up with a rare candy, so TM Devolution is obviously a lot scarier. It's also a 2 prize card that's a liability on your bench, weak to electric types. And again, we are losing a lot of that consistency that helped us set up the Pidgeot EX, the biggest one obviously being Forest Seal Stone. If you've ever played Charizard, you already know if you're going, you know, turn 1, if you're going second, your goal is to basically find Arven, find a Buddy Poffin to set up your Pokemon, and also get a Forest Seal Stone, which you can use to kind of get help set up. Because obviously you want to set up Pidgeot EX as fast as possible, but you also need a board state that's going to work for you. And so if you're using all your resources to get the Pidgeot set up, and you don't have the resources to get anything else set up, then you still kind of just lose. So the fact that we lost Forest Seal Stone, that's one big consistency card that lets you get any other card that you need. Essentially, this right here is Pidgeot's ability, but it helps you set up the Pidgeot, you know, early in the game. That way you can use it for the whole game. But on top of that, we do have one more big consistency card that helps us get the Noctowls easily set up almost every single game, and that of course is Fan Rotom for its ability, which allows you during your first turn only to search for up to 3 colorless Pokemon with 100 HP or less, reveal them, and then put them into your hand. That means that you're able to search out for Hoot Hoot and Noctowls. Let's just say, you start off a game with Fan Rotom and you already have 1 Hoot Hoot as well. You can use Fan Rotom's ability to get 1 more Hoot Hoot and then 2 Noctowls, and that means on your next turn you're going to have 2 Hoot Hoots ready to evolve into the 2 Noctowls that are already in your hand. And if you decide to evolve both of them, you're searching for any 4 training cards that you want from your whole entire deck. I think Fan Rotom is like the big key piece that allows you to get the Noctowls set up, and so without it, I'm sure Noctowl would be a lot worse. But the fact that we do have Fan Rotom, you see it paired in pretty much any deck that runs Noctowl, it just makes sense. Again, you see the Raging Bolt list, we do have 2 Fan Rotoms, we have the 3 Hoot Hoots, the 3 Noctowls, it just pairs together so well. We also have the Terra Box deck that did really good in Japan, same thing, we have the Fan Rotoms, we even have Ditto right here, which is another Pokemon to kind of just help you get Fan Rotom turn 1 in case you don't start off with it. You might be asking, why do you run Ditto instead of like a 3rd Fan Rotom? It just kind of makes more sense because it's a little bit more flexible. You can use it to, turn into Fan Rotom or into something else that you might need. And obviously Fan Rotom is pretty much useless after turn 1, so it just kind of makes sense. So again, I do think that Noctowl in this upcoming format is just a lot more consistent. It just makes a lot more sense to play. That being said, obviously Pidgeot EX does still have some good usage, and what we are seeing in a lot of Charizard lists especially, we are seeing a lot of Charizard with Noctowl instead of Pidgeot, but a lot of them do still run a 1-1 line of Pidgeot because again, it is an insane card still. It's just kind of hard to set up sometimes. So basically you kind of have that option to, set it up, but you also have that consistency of the Noctowl to kind of guarantee that you get the cards that you need. And in a format where Badoo is a thing and we have all different kinds of decks that can kind of shut you down, it is just nice to have those options. So I do think something like this makes a lot of sense where you run mostly Noctowl, but you still have the option for the 1-1 Pidgeot in a deck that already plays 4 rare candies. Plus this artwork just looks sick, so it just makes sense why it's good, you know what I mean? I will say, okay, I'm going around here for a second. I think it's crazy how much the price increased on this card. I actually had 3 Stellar Crown ETBs, so I had 3 of these, right? And I just needed that 4th Noctowl, and for a while, and I knew it was gonna go up in price. Like it was about $2 maybe $3 for this artwork Noctowl, and then it just jumped up out of nowhere. I knew it was gonna jump up too, so I had to pay like 11 bucks for the last one I got, just because everywhere I was looking it was like 10, 11, 12 dollars. So yeah, it's crazy. If you want a full playset of this, it's like 40, 50 bucks now, which is insane because for the longest time you could probably get 4 for like $10. But I mean, it's kind of worth it. Like I said, this is a very sick artwork. I love it. But as always, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if this made sense at all. Just kind of giving my thoughts and my opinions on why I think Noctowl is kind of showing up as a replacement for Pidgeot in most decks. And yeah, I'm really excited for this new format. I know I keep saying that, but I'm just excited to kind of see what decks come out on top. A lot of times we look at Japan lists and some of them kind of translate over, I feel like, to the US, but a lot of times we do see some other decks start to pop off and kind of take over. So it's really interesting to see the different metas between regions. One thing's for sure though, Noctowl's going to be good and it's going to be found in a lot of decks. So if you haven't gotten your Noctowls yet, make sure you do. Yeah, that's going to be about it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, as always, I will catch you all in the next one.